Hey everyone, welcome back for another stitch with me. This is Crow, and today we are doing Botanical Gardens by Rose Catherine Kahn, charted by Paine Crafts. I need a needle. And this is what you all voted for. I think the final count was, you know what, I should look that up because it's kind of interesting. Hold on. I think that's the wrong thing. I think this was 60% of the votes. And let me see here how many people voted. It was a lot. 65 people voted, and this one was 60% of the votes. So a lot of you wanted to see this. So that's really cool. So we're going to get on with it. I'm doing it 1/1 on 25 count. Full cross. And I have 2,000. I'm in the process of converting it to diagonals. I have 2,707 stitches. Oh, wait, where's my... Oh, my scissors are over here. I was working this morning before filming this, so I lost my needle threader. Oh, there it is. Okay. I have 2,707 stitches out of 441,936, and I am at 0.61%. So let's get into it. We'll see. Let me fix this a little bit, see if I can go in a little bit for you. We'll see how far we can get today. Like I said, I am converting this to diagonals, so currently doing the parked threads. And then we'll go and fill in. We'll see what time that leaves us with. And we'll go fill in. I haven't worked on this for quite a while, so it's nice to have it back out again. Stitches up amazing. Like, look how this stitches up. It's beautiful. I also have the Cozy Winter Book Nook. Which I don't think it's technically a companion piece, but I am treating it as such to this piece. And then I just got, with my voucher, I got the kit for the Magical Study, I think that's what it's called. The purple version. It's like a bunch of purple and teals. It's really pretty. I haven't started it yet. I think I got the 28 count kit for that. I did do an unboxing for my tier 2 Ko-fi members. An unboxing video. So if you are a tier 2 and you haven't watched that, it was on the Ko-fi a little while ago, and then it's also, the link is in the Google Doc, which is saved, or I should say pinned, in the Murder of Crows channel in the Discord. So you can go and find it there. So today is Wednesday, February 12th. I almost said February 2nd. February 12th, 2025. And it's snowing here. It's actually, you know what? It's the kind of snow that I like. It's snowing, but it's not sticking. It's barely enough to cover the grass. So it looks nice and pretty, but no shoveling is required. The roads are clear. It's perfect. So funnily enough, Cozy Winter Book Nook would have like fit the day perfectly. But I didn't put that up to vote on. I should have. Maybe this week we'll put that up. So I was working this morning. I'm not doing any event. Well, I shouldn't say events. I'm not doing any shows this year for my candle business, like craft shows or trade shows or anything like that. They're just too unpredictable and frankly not worth it. So I'm not doing any shows. However, one of the local bookshops, well, I say local, it's like they're about 25 minutes away, which is local in my view, that stocks my candles. They purchase from me wholesale. And they have they're a murder mystery bookshop, so I mean, frankly, there couldn't have been a better better shop to stock my candles, bookshop. And they have 2 events during the year. They have an ice cream, so it's like a just mystery, horror, thriller, like just the whole encompassing genre. And that's in May. And then they have a Cozy Mystery Fete in October, which is Cozy Mysteries. And so for each event, they have authors come in and they do an event with the authors. They call it, it's like they go on at tables, and then each author gets, the authors move around the tables, and each author gets 5 minutes at a table to talk to everyone and talk about their books and everything like that. And then there's usually, bingo and prizes, and it's a fun event. They have books from the authors that people can purchase, that the people attending can purchase, and then the authors obviously will sign anything that people bring in or purchase there. And the shop always asks me if I would like to, basically they let me go for free, because first of all, they're amazing and wonderful people, but also because oh, excuse me, that came out of nowhere. Because they my candles go like perfectly with both of the themes. Let me get a sip of coffee. They let me, oh, that's not right. They let me come in and set up a table. So there's something else for the people attending. And it's really fun. So there's the first one is the ice cream one. And it's just the letter I, right? Like I'm talking about myself. And then scream, SCREAM. So it's a pun, it's a play on words, which a lot of my candles are. And I do have some, well, one in specific. Oh, helps if I highlight it. One specifically, mint chocolate chipped, is an ice cream flavor. I should say scent, ice cream scent, which is a mint chocolate chip ice cream. And that sold really well last year. But I am going to do a mini candle bundle this year for the event called Noxious Neapolitan. So Neapolitan ice cream is strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate, and it's layered. And so I do have a vanilla, I have a buttercream bump off. I have, which is the vanilla icing, like buttercream icing. I have a Death by chocolate, which is a chocolate. And then I have strawberries and scream, which is a strawberries and cream scent. So I ordered, I'm going to do a mini bundle of 2-ounce candles, and 1 2-ounce candle of each scent in a box, in a bundle. So I ordered the labels that I need for the outside of the box this morning, and planned that out. I'm really excited. That's going to be so fun. And, oops, let's do this color. I ordered other labels and things that I needed. And hanging bags for the wax melt bars that I'm going to be making as well. So things that I needed, but that's gonna, oh, I also am gonna add, I'm gonna do a Meet Your Baker bundle for just, I'll have it there, but also I'm gonna add it, all of this will also be added to the website shop when they're ready, which will have mini dessert flavored candles. So I'm excited for that as well. So I ordered that, and then just other labels that I needed, that I am running low on. So it's amazing how long, I sit down to do something like that, and I'm thinking, oh, it'll take like 20 minutes, and then like an hour later. So, but it's done. They're done and they're ordered, and I should have them by the end of February. So that'll give me plenty of time to make everything and get everything ready for the event in May. So I also came up with I haven't made the scent yet, but I have come up with a name for another candle for fall, a cranberry scent. So there'll be some new scents coming. I'm trying to not go overboard because I'm sort of uncertain of I'm not gonna get political, but with all the new tariffs and things happening, I'm uncertain as to whether I'll be able to continue or what I'll be able to continue. So I'm trying to not go overboard with new things, but also do enough new things to, keep it fresh for customers, because customers do like their certain scents. People do come back for Murder on the Orient Espresso, for example, is a big one that people love and come back over and over again for. But then people, you also like new fresh scents, new fresh ideas. So we'll see how it goes. I don't really get this or Cozy Winter Book Nook out often, but then when I do, I just absolutely love working on them, and I need to get these out more frequently. I think they're daunting to me in my brain. For whatever reason, I just think they're daunting, but then once I actually get it out and work on it, especially now that I'm converting it to diagonals, it's such an enjoyable stitch. And I need to just do it. I need to get it out and do it. And next time my brain's like, I just need to be like, no, get it out. I've been sort of not in a full coverage mode lately. This is the first, well, that's a lie. I did work on full coverage yesterday. One that I worked on was a raisin that I'm trying to finish this month. And I worked on just 310 background in Dragons of the Sabbath, so, you know, I needed something easy for my brain, and that was it. But I've been in a real non-full coverage mode. I got my shadowing out yesterday and was working on that like last evening, early evening, and was beading because I'm doing the toadstool tile, so it's very heavily beaded. I started in the center and then did the center stitching, and then like everything around the center is just all beads, all delicas. So I was working on that and I was having a grand old time. So I don't know, we'll see if it gets picked for if the picker wheel lands on it for one of the honorable mentions next week. But it was really fun, and I worked on one of my Raven Coven piece. What else have I worked on that wasn't full cover? Oh, I worked on painted the Judith M. Kirby painted lady kit. Just doing the pink house, but I worked on that this morning and I kept it out because I feel like I'm gonna want to work on it more later today. It's interesting how I go through oh my goodness, I just had a panic. I just thought I didn't actually press record, but I did. We're all good. It's amazing how I go through phases, I guess, of like all full coverage, a mix, non-full coverage. Does anybody else go through that? Does anybody else have like phases in their stitching? What's everybody working on, by the way? I usually ask that first, but I forgot. What's everybody working on while listening to this stitch with me? What's everyone up to? Feel free to share, even if it's not stitching related. It's nice to hear what people got up to. I spent some time yesterday working on fully finishing Taco Time for Child. There are some people who love to fully finish things. I am not one of those people. I absolutely hate fully finishing things because the whole entire time my brain is just going, I could be stitching. Like, I could be spending this time stitching right now, and I'm not. But I did work on doing that yesterday, so it'll be ready. It's not done yet. I just doing a flat finish. I was gonna frame it, and then I didn't have anything that quite fit, and so I'm just doing a flat finish, and then I put a not foam, oh my goodness, felt on the back, and now all I have to do is I'm gonna crochet a chain, probably in black, and then just sew that around the edge for like a rope finish. I don't know. It'll be fine. It's for the child. It's gonna go down and okay, so it's gonna go down the mines. That's what we call our basement. He has a teenager cave down there, where it's half finished, finished, half the basement for the child. And he basically lives down there when he's not like at school or ballet. It's where he plays. He has his 3D printer down there. He designs he designs his own things to print. He made it for anyone who's a Final Fantasy X lover or has played Final Fantasy X. He designed a blitzball and printed it. That's his latest thing. And then his video games are down there. He does his craft, like he crochets and things down there. Like that's just his space, and we call it the mines. So I'm sure when he gets it, it will go down the mines on the wall or on a shelf, and that is where it will live. So I am sending off 3 projects to get framed. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I found a couple places that you can send your work off and they will frame it for you. And they do specialize. They have people who specialize in framing needle work, needle art, cross stitch, needle point, whatever it is. So I have 3 pieces that I am sending off. They've been in the drawer for years. One's the Rooks by Alforce Embroidery, which I finished, oh my gosh, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. One is Santa Quill from Long Dog Samplers. Again, that I finished two years ago, maybe, or more. I don't know. Time just sort of doesn't exist anymore. And then the third one is My Body version 2 sampler by Birdie's Crossing that I finished last year. It was one of my 2024 finishes. And, you know, I just was like, I would rather pay someone to do it and do it well and know that it is going to last and be amazing quality than me trying to do it myself and hating every minute of it. And they've been in the drawer long enough. There's other small ones that I'll do something with myself. It's not worth sending off, but I'm also going to send off Flamingo Duo because that's an odd shape. And I really just don't feel like finding a frame or doing anything with that to fit that. Like, I'm just going to send that off, even though it is smaller. And Raisin will obviously be sent off when she's finished. So, all the money that I'm saving not purchasing patterns can go to getting things framed and actually up on the wall. Rooks is going to go on my murder wall. Santa Quill will also go on my murder wall. Raisin, when I get that done, she will obviously also go on my murder wall. And my body will go on my craftivism wall. I've got a lot of walls. I've got a lot of themed walls. I have a craftivism wall, which currently has 2 fully finishes on it. My body will be the 3rd. The other 2 that I have on that wall are another Birdie's Crossing sampler, No More. Version, is it the version 2? No More sampler that I stitched in Mansplaining by Birdie's Floss shop, Night Stalker's Calling. And then the other one I have on my craftivism wall at the moment is a free pattern that from Julian Stitches 16. That just says, I dissent, Justice Sotomayor. And that was a quick stitch and finish. I did it in one day. I did it on July 4th, actually, last year. And, oh, let me get this so that you can see it. Let me go out a bit because I did move down. There we go. So my body will fit nicely in there. I'm really excited. I was gonna send off my non-harvesting phalluses as well. But then thought that might be, even though it is a historical manuscript, right? Thought that might be not quite a ropes. So I do have a frame that I'm just gonna shove that into. And frame that one myself, but do you all like to finish things, like fully finish things? I can't stand it. It's like I know it's not a waste of time because, I mean, the whole point of fully finishing it is so you can display it, right? So I know it's not a waste of time, but my brain tells me it's a waste of time. My brain tells me I could be stitching, or I could be, working, or I could be doing something else right now. And it tells me it's a waste of time, even though logically I know it's not, but I'm gonna park that there. Okay. Ooh, 920. The colors in this are so pretty too. Like the vibrant colors in this piece. Get another sip of coffee. Okay. Child had his performance at the so if anyone tuned in last time to the Stitch with Me, I think I talked about how there was a Dunkin' Donuts opening and in the area, and they had contacted his ballet studio to see if they wanted to put together like a small performance, I guess, for the opening ceremony. And the studio did, and it was optional, and of course Child wanted to do it because he loves performing, so we said yes. And it was last Saturday, and they had to be at the studio at 8 o'clock for a warm-up class, and then to get their costumes, and then they were going to drive them over to the Dunkin' Donuts. They were going to leave at 9 because the opening ceremony started at 10. And blah, blah, blah. So Child had to get up. I had to get him up at 6:30 because he needed his hair and makeup done. So I'm up. I'm always up really. I'm a morning person. I'm usually 3:34 is when I'm up. So I was up. I got him up. I knocked on his bedroom door to wake him up. And then usually I just crack the door open and turn the light on. And he wasn't in his bed. So I'm like, and we did do it probably isn't going to be best for you to stay up late on Friday night because it's going to be an early morning. But, life choices. So I go down the mines and I'm waking him up and I'm like calling down to him and flicking the lights, and he finally wakes up and I said, "Did you get a shower last night?" And there was just dead silence. And I said, "Well, I'm going to take that as a no, so get your body up and go get a shower because we need to get you your hair and makeup done so you can leave." Okay. So he does that. And I'm making his lunch and get his lunch made, get his makeup, get his hair. Dar they leave it. Dar takes them. They leave at 7:30 to get there by 8. All right. Everything's going as planned. Well, I still teach a private ballet lesson. Those don't go there. I used to teach at a ballet studio, not Child's, but a different one. And there's one adult who I still teach private lessons to, and he comes on Saturday mornings. So he's getting ready to come, like, I'm getting ready, he would be there soon. And Dar gets back and says, you know, where is this grand opening supposed to be? And so I give him the address and I said, why? You know, what's up? What happened? Well, child left his lunch. So Dar then had to go, because I was teaching. Dar then had to go and drop off his lunch. So he gets to this Dunkin' Donuts and he doesn't see, and they were supposed to be outside because, you know, they had him dressed warm and everything. It's still cold. It's winter. And the performance was supposed to be outside. And so they were like, you know, you're going to be outside. Make sure you just warm, like take things that can go over your costume, blah, blah, blah. So he gets there and there's no one outside. Like, he's so confused and he's waiting. And then I said, well, they left at 9. So they should obviously be there. Like, they should be there by now. Check inside. So they were all inside. So he gives him his lunch. But then while he was doing that, the people at the Dunkin' Donuts had blocked off the drive-thru so no one could go through, which makes sense. While they're doing their thing, they don't want people going through. However, half of the parking lot was also then blocked off because it was behind. So I guess the way it is like we'll use my needle minder, right? This is the building. The drive-thru goes around the building, but then there's parking behind it. So in closing off the drive-thru, they then also closed off the parking lot. So Dar couldn't leave. He was closed in. So he was there, and they're like, he's texting me as it's happening, and my student and I are laughing at, like, my student's invested in this by this point as well. He's laughing his head off, and so Darce is like, the kids aren't even, they're just standing there. There's like some adults or parents or something swing dancing. He was so confused. And then the kids performed, the students performed, and child, I guess, was first. His piece was first, and he was doing a partner piece, and it was like a minute long. And that was it. So all of that for 1 minute. Something's not right here. Hold on. Oh, okay. It's because I have that one marked off and it's not stitched. We're good. So yeah. So it was like this whole big thing. And then they took the kids back to the studio for class for the rest of the day. Now, usually he's there till 4 o'clock on Saturdays, but we were supposed to get snow. I need another sip of coffee. So they closed the studio at 1:30. And then ended up not really giving the kids time to eat lunch. So Dar went through all of that. And then he didn't really get to eat his lunch anyway. He ate it when he came home. Oh my goodness. And then it didn't snow. It didn't snow until like maybe it didn't start till like maybe 6-7 o'clock that night, and it wasn't even snow. It was just, it was sleet and with a little bit of snow on top. But yeah, it was just a mess. It was like the comedy of errors. So I then did have to text my student later and say, you know, all of that, and they didn't even get to eat their lunch while they were there. And he said, of course. Of course. But you know, if Dar hadn't gone and given him his lunch, they would have, you know, if he hadn't taken them his lunch, they would have had lunch, and then he wouldn't have had anything to eat. It's one of those situations. Goes here. But he had a good time. He really enjoys performing, so. That is in the diagonal. And then park there. Okay. Still working through some park threads here. 780. This is a short one. Not much left of this one. I always feel like it is tricky for places like that to, well, in schools and everything, to make decisions about weather and closings. And on one hand, it's like they definitely could have stayed open, but on the other hand, it's, you know, if it did come earlier, and especially for a place like that, the older students can drive themselves and things like that, and it definitely is a safety concern, you know. With sleet, especially sleet and ice, I'd rather drive in snow, because snow you have something to grip onto, whereas sleet and ice you don't. So and we've gotten just enough each time to be like, we haven't got anything that was substantial, but we've gotten just enough each of these, I don't even call them storms, but each of these occurrences, right, to make just enough trouble, you know, just unsafe enough. So it's, and usually ones like that are ones where people really don't take precautions when they drive, because it's not quite bad enough, you know. So they just drive like they normally would, and that's not really what you need. Dar. So Sunday, Dar said to me, he loves to cook. I think I talked about this before. He loves to cook. And so he said to me, is there anything fun you want that we don't really have that often? And so, of course, my brain goes off. And it was like Sunday, maybe around 11 a.m. So it was pretty far in the day. Like, there wasn't a lot of time to do things that would take like a full day or anything like that, or a lot of preparation. So I said, I've been wanting like a proper cheesecake. Because the last time we were at Shenanigan's house, Shenanigan Pepper Grinder, they gave us cheesecake for dessert. And it was the saddest cheesecake I've ever seen in my life. Like, I've had pizzas that were thicker than this cheesecake. And it was, like, obviously with cheesecake, there's different... Oh, I'm just going off. I should be going back over here. Hold on. I'm getting distracted by food. Hold on. There's different, like, yes, there's different thicknesses, there are different styles, there's different, like, you can have denser ones, you can have more fluffier ones, right? But they're all really, even if you have a dense one, it's still creamy. And this one was, I don't know, maybe like not even an inch thick, maybe about an inch thick. And was a dense one, but it wasn't creamy. It like crumbled apart. And it was the saddest thing I've ever experienced in my life as far as cheesecake's concerned. So I asked Star to make a cheesecake. And so then he said, well, what flavor? And I said, well, since you ask, I chose a chocolate caramel pecan flavor. So he made a cheesecake that he made a graham cracker crust. Everything he did homemade because he loves to cook. So the graham cracker crust he did from scratch, from homemade. Then there was a layer of chocolate cheesecake on the bottom. Like, he took some of the mixture out and mixed it with melted chocolate and put that on the bottom. Then put the rest of the cheesecake batter or mixture, whatever you call it. I don't know. I guess it's a batter. And then made a homemade caramel sauce with crushed pecans in it. And then when it came out of the oven, he then made a chocolate ganache. And put that on top, and then put the caramel pecan sauce. And oh my God, this thing. I can't even begin to tell you all how amazing this is. It is incredible. Oh, he put the caramel sauce on top of a layer of chocolate cheesecake as well on the bottom. And it was just, there's still some down there. I had it for breakfast one morning because obviously, like, why wouldn't you? Okay, I'm going to move y'all because we're coming back down to the bottom of this diagonal. And I want to make sure that y'all can see what's going on. So now we have a jar of homemade pecan sauce. Which is going to be fantastic over ice cream. And I'm very excited. So once the cheesecake's gone. Yeah. It was an expensive dessert with the price of eggs, not gonna lie. But again, we don't have it often at all. I couldn't even tell you, probably at least a year or more since the last time he made a cheesecake. Probably more than that. So it's definitely a wonderful treat. And child and I appreciated it so much and absolutely loved it. And the shitty thing is that Dar can't even eat it because of his dietary requirements. He can't have sugar. So he can't have it at all. Like, he can have a little taste of it, a little, little sliver bite. But he loves cooking and he loves doing things like that. So this is 154, and I think 154 might be one of my favorite DMC colors. It's like a purple, but brown. It's like a brownie purple. And I love it. Oh, that is a stitch, okay. Oh, eyes itchy. Okay. So Valentine's Day is on Friday. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day. I'm not a ooey gooey, mushy, lovey-dovey person, if you couldn't tell. But so child last week during school had they were doing like the history of Valentine's Day, and I heard they were going through the class, and not each student, but students were alternating reading the thing, and the part that child had, he talked about Lupercalia and how Valentine's Day came from Lupercalia. Like Lupercalia came first, and then Valentine's Day came from that. And so after school that day, I said, "Oh, I heard you were talking about learning about Lupercalia? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, what all did you learn about it? And he said, well, just that Valentine's Day came from that. And I said, would you like to learn what they actually did on Lupercalia? And he said, sure. So I proceeded to tell him what they did on Lupercalia. And it's almost too unbelievable to be believed, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, there were sacrifices, and it was about fertility, essentially, right? And there were sacrifices going on of animals, and then those things would then lead to, I'm trying to say it without being too graphic, I guess, maybe trigger warning in case it might make you squeamish. They would take the blood from the sacrificed goat or dog, and then dip rags in it, and then like run through the streets naked at smacking people with the rags. Essentially, there were other things that happened, but that was basically it. And child, which is thought that was hilarious. Like, he was like, wait, really? Like, every time I would say something, he'd be like, wait, really? Like, you're taking the mickey. And I'd be like, no, it's legit what they did. And so that was fun to tell them what they actually did, and then how it was, you know, like with most things, it was a pope that then said, if you celebrate this, you're a heathen. And so then that's how Valentine's Day was born. But we celebrate Lupercalia not in the traditional sense. We celebrate it over self-love and what we love about ourselves, and maybe things that we don't like about ourselves but want to learn to love. So we write down on a piece of paper those things, what we love about ourselves, what we want to work on to love more about ourselves. And I seal it with wax and I put it in a drawer. And then the next year we each take out our papers and we read them and we reflect on, you know, do we still love this about ourselves? Did we learn to love this thing that we maybe weren't so happy about, but felt that we should have learned to love, you know? Things like that. Did we make any progress? So that's what we do. And it's actually quite interesting and fun. And we can we leave it optional as to whether or not each person wants to share. So like I usually share. Last year, a child chose not to share. I think Dar shared last year, but it's optional each year. And it's just a little fun thing we do about self-love and nurturing self-love and not letting people's opinions or whatnot of ourselves take over or negate our self-love. So that's how we celebrate Lupercalia, which is most definitely not the traditional way by any stretch of the. We're not sacrificing goats. We're not running naked through the streets. You know, none of that's happening. It'd be kind of fun. Not sacrificing an animal, I couldn't do that, but you know, just running through the streets naked, slapping people with rags. I mean, that sounds kind of fun, actually. Maybe it's just me. It might just be me. It just sounds very like again, not the sacrifice or anything like that, but just that aspect of just running around naked, and it's like it just sounds fun and freeing, you know? Like especially today, putting aside all, you know, people's, I guess maybe that's why it sounds kind of fun to me and appealing to me, because it would be a sort of self-love, right? Like setting aside and not caring about what people think, and just setting aside everyone else's viewpoint of what they think about what I would look like or anyone else would look like, right? And not caring, and just having a grand old time, being like, this is me, and if you don't like it, you can sod off, and I'll smack you with a rag. Like, which obviously, again, was not the original meaning behind it, but I think that might be why, putting it in today's viewpoint, I think that's why I think it would be kind of fun. Except I would get arrested, so that would not be fun. Probably put in a mental institution. So, a psychiatric hospital or something. So, I will not be partaking in that tradition, no matter how fun it sounds. Think there's one more color, I think, to finish this little bit of the diagonal here. So I think I'll do that color, and then we'll call it a day. Again, every time I get this out, I have such a grand time with it. I just need to remember that and get it out more often. Though I guess the same could be said for a lot of things I have. Just need to get it out more often. And, you know, sadly, I'm a mood stitcher, so, you know, that is a factor, but also just time's a factor. I don't have the time to get everything out that I would like to. 38, 34. I have been on very much I want to finish all the things, but I also want to start all the things mood lately, and I don't really know how to balance that, because obviously those two things don't go together, really. It's sort of, you know, one or the other. So I haven't quite figured out how to juggle that. Because every time I work on something that I want to finish, I'm like, oh, but I want to start all these things. And then every time I start something new, I'm like, oh, but I could be finishing this. I could be working towards it. So I just go back and forth. And I have finished quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit. I finished 3 things this year so far. I think 3. With a raisin finish looming, and it's still, I'm like, it's not enough. But then I still want to start everything. So there we are. We're gonna leave it there for today. I did 300. Oh, this is perfect. I hope a lot of you will appreciate this. I did 351 stitches today. We're now at 3,058 stitches out of 441,936. And I'm at 0.69%. Nice. So we're going to leave it there. This will be in the wheel to maybe be picked for a honorable mention for next week's floss tube. So you might see this again. You might not. And I hope you all have a good rest of the week. I'll be back Monday for my next floss tube. And I will put up, probably right after I start uploading this, a poll for next week to choose what I work on for next week's Stitch With Me. So keep an eye out for that in the posts tab. I hope you all enjoyed watching, stitching along, working along, and have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time. Bye.